In the moonlit desert, an eerie silence is shattered by the sound of a muffled cry. A desperate animal's struggle echoes through the stillness, its body writhing in pain. The kangaroo is trapped in a cruel steel snare, its leg caught tightly. The once vast desert feels like an inescapable prison. The animal's eyes, wide with terror, are filled with panic as it desperately claws at the trap. Each pull only worsens its injury. The snare's metal jaws seem to mock its helplessness, squeezing tighter as the kangaroo's strength fades. The sound of its panicked breathing is the only thing that remains. The winds begin to pick up, carrying with them the promise of an incoming storm. Yet the kangaroo's survival depends on one thing: rescue. Time is slipping away, and the desert, vast and unforgiving, seems too far from salvation. A figure appears in the distance. Someone is coming, but will they reach the animal in time? The storm approaches, and with it, the stakes are raised. The fate of this injured creature rests on the fragile thread of hope that someone will act before it's too late. The rescuer's heart races as she cradles the injured kangaroo in her arms. Each step feels like it could be her last, with the storm closing in. She's pushing forward, knowing that time is slipping away. The kangaroo's weight feels heavier with each stride. Its breathing shallow, each exhale barely a whisper in the growing wind. The flashes of lightning grow brighter, signaling that the storm will hit any minute. The rescuer's eyes scan the horizon, searching for any sign of shelter, anything to offer the kangaroo a chance to survive this night. The winds are now deafening, and the desert is beginning to feel like a trap. Yet, she won't stop. She can't stop. Not after coming this far. The storm's fury intensifies. The rescuer can barely see through the veil of sand and rain. Her steps are heavy, the wind making it hard to breathe, and every time she looks down at the kangaroo in her arms, its body feels colder. The kangaroo's once gentle breaths are now labored, almost rhythmic in their struggle. The distance to safety seems endless, but there's no turning back now. The desert is a force that doesn't care about human effort, yet she pushes forward, the weight of the kangaroo growing unbearable. Every few steps she looks up, hoping to spot any landmark. A rock, a distant light. But the world is consumed by the storm. As the rain begins to pour in heavy sheets, she wonders if the kangaroo will even survive this. But she holds on tight. If nothing else, she can give it this one last fight. After what feels like an eternity, the rescuer's foot finally lands on solid ground. A small rock formation looms ahead, the only shelter visible in the chaos of the storm. The wind howls like an animal in pain, but it's their only chance. She rushes toward the rocks, every step bringing her closer to the possibility of safety. But as she reaches the formation, she stumbles. The kangaroo slips from her arms for a split second, and her heart stops. She catches it just in time, her arms trembling as the storm threatens to tear them apart. The jagged edges of the rocks seem to mock her efforts, and she's forced to crawl under the shelter, holding the kangaroo tightly against her chest. The storm seems to rage on, but now, in this small moment of relative safety, she allows herself to breathe. The danger hasn't passed, but at least for now, they've survived the worst of it. In the safety of the rocky alcove, the rescuer looks down at the kangaroo. Its body is cold, its fur matted with rain and blood, but its breathing has slowed. She gently strokes its head, whispering soft words of encouragement, even though she isn't sure it can hear her. The storm rages outside, the wind so strong it feels as if the rocks themselves could be torn away. The kangaroo's eyelids flutter, and for the briefest moment, it seems to understand her presence. But then, the storm's fury intensifies and the kangaroo's breathing quickens again, its legs still bleeding heavily. Time is running out. She has to get it help, has to get it to safety. With the storm showing no signs of letting up, she knows the only way forward is through the heart of it, but she isn't sure the kangaroo will survive another journey. Still, she has no choice. She won't give up. Not now. Not when the animal still has a chance. The storm has passed, leaving behind only the howling wind and the crackling of rain-soaked sand. The rescuer, kneeling beside the kangaroo in the rocky alcove, gently presses her hand to its head, offering what little comfort she can. Her mind races, torn between the growing concern that the animal might not survive, and the fierce determination that she will not let it die here. The kangaroo's body shudders, and its eyes, now less frantic, lock onto her face. She wonders if it feels the bond too. They're both survivors of this merciless land, fighting against the elements, the night, and time itself. She's been here before, saving another life, a promise unfulfilled. But this time, she won't fail. She can't. There's a history between them, one built on past pain and loss. She knows that if she succeeds, it will heal something deep within her, a wound that's never truly closed. She leans closer, whispering, "You're not alone. I'll get you through this." The night is long, but the rescuer remains vigilant. Hours pass, yet the kangaroo's condition doesn't improve. Every shallow breath it takes sends a shiver through her spine. She's no stranger to the harshness of nature, but this feels different. The deep bond she's starting to feel for the animal mirrors the one she once had with another creature she fought to save, a creature that didn't make it. A pang of guilt runs through her, like a scar that never truly healed. Was that failure her fault? Could she have done more? She pushes the thought aside, focusing instead on the task at hand. She can't afford to give in to doubt now. As the hours stretch into a cold, miserable night, the rescue mission becomes more than just saving a life. It becomes a redemption she didn't know she needed. But redemption comes at a cost, and she knows that price may be steep. As dawn begins to break, the rescuer rises, her legs stiff from sitting for so long. The kangaroo stirs slightly, its body stiff, but alive. It's a small sign of hope, but it's not enough. She can feel the weight of the world on her shoulders as she adjusts her grip on the animal. She's never been afraid of hard work, but the journey ahead is going to test her limits. She knows she can't carry the kangaroo much farther without risking both their lives. The storm has passed, but the land remains unforgiving. It will take everything she has to get the kangaroo to safety, and every step forward feels like it's pulling her further from redemption, closer to the edge of exhaustion. But she doesn't hesitate. She won't stop. She has one chance, and she's determined to take it. The rescuer moves forward, taking each step carefully, mindful of her fragile charge. She's no longer certain where she's going, but she knows she can't turn back. The landscape stretches out before her like a challenge, the mountains far in the distance seeming unreachable. The sun is up now, casting harsh shadows over the terrain. The kangaroo's breathing remains shallow but steady, and she can't help but feel a flicker of hope. She whispers, "We're almost there, just hold on." She's said this to herself countless times before, and yet, each time, the words are heavier. It's as if the weight of the past is carrying her forward, urging her to keep going, to make up for past mistakes. But with each passing moment, she can't help but wonder, will she succeed this time, or will she fail again? It's hours before they reach the small oasis she's been praying for. The heat is unbearable, and the kangaroo is barely responsive now, its body growing colder in her arms. She sets it down on the soft ground near the water, trembling with exhaustion. The oasis is a small patch of life in an otherwise barren land. But it's not enough. Not yet. The kangaroo needs more than water. It needs healing. It needs care. The rescuer's heart sinks as she realizes that this moment, this small victory, might not be enough to save the animal. She hasn't given up, but the weight of the journey is pressing down harder now. "I won't leave you," she whispers. The oasis is quiet. The only sound, the soft lapping of the water against the shore. In the stillness, the rescuer's voice trembles. She's done all she can, and yet she knows it's not enough. The rescuer moves forward through the harsh desert, her eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of the safe haven she's been promised. The kangaroo, still fragile in her arms, barely stirs now. Every step feels heavier than the last. She's exhausted, her muscles aching, but she won't stop. Not when the kangaroo is depending on her. The sky above has shifted, the bright, cloudless morning now replaced with a haze of gray. A storm brews again in the distance, its ominous clouds rolling across the sky. The wind picks up, swirling dust and sand in the air, making each step more difficult. As if nature itself is conspiring to keep them from safety. Doubt creeps into her mind, but she shakes it off. She can't afford to lose faith now. Her resolve is hardening with each obstacle. She'll get the kangaroo to safety, even if it means fighting the elements. But then the first drop of rain falls, followed by more, as if the heavens themselves are testing her. The storm is coming, and she has no choice but to face it head-on. The storm arrives quickly, its fury now unmistakable. The wind howls, making it difficult to see or hear anything clearly. The rescuer is drenched within seconds, and the kangaroo's weight in her arms feels unbearable. She stumbles, nearly falling, but catches herself. She can't stop now. With the storm's intensity increasing, she knows her window of safety is closing. There's a sense of urgency now, as if the desert itself is trying to swallow them whole. Every movement she makes seems slower than before, as if the weight of both the storm and the kangaroo is pulling her down. The sand kicks up, stinging her exposed skin. Her eyes, barely able to keep up with the shifting landscape, lock onto a shape in the distance, a rock formation that looks like it might offer shelter. But it's still too far, and with every passing minute, the storm gets worse. She pushes forward, hoping she's not making a dangerous mistake by trusting the uncertain path ahead. The rock formation is closer now, but with every step, the rain grows heavier. The rescuer's heart races as she nears it. The storm is relentless, the wind biting at her exposed skin, and the desert landscape is nearly indistinguishable. The kangaroo in her arms is slipping in and out of consciousness, its fragile body barely moving. She can feel the weight of its life resting in her hands, and it's all she can do to hold on to that hope. The rocks finally come into full view, jagged and sharp, but they offer the only shelter in sight. She's almost there, but the storm is unforgiving, and each step is harder than the last. The rain is like a sheet of ice pelting her body, making it harder to breathe. She begins to wonder if she can make it, if she's pushing herself too far, if she's too late. But the thought is fleeting. She has no choice but to push on, to believe that they will both survive this storm. The safety of the rock formation is within reach. They finally reach the base of the rock formation, but the journey isn't over. The storm is still howling, and the rescuer is struggling to find a way into the shelter. The jagged rocks are sharp, making it difficult to climb. She hesitates for a moment, feeling the weight of the kangaroo's fragile body in her arms. It's too risky to try and scale the rocks with the kangaroo in tow. The rain continues to fall, the sound of the storm deafening. She knows they need to get higher up, away from the rising floodwaters, but every step feels like a test of her limits. She looks down at the kangaroo, its eyes now closed. "Please," she whispers, "just hold on a little longer." The storm shows no signs of letting up, and the minutes seem to stretch on forever. But she forces herself to move, looking for any possible way up the rocks. After what feels like an eternity, she finds a narrow crevice in the rocks, just wide enough for her to slip through. With a surge of adrenaline, she crawls inside, pulling the kangaroo with her. The space is cramped and cold, but it's a reprieve from the storm. She sets the kangaroo down gently, her hands trembling as she checks its condition. Its breathing is shallow, but at least it's still alive. She closes her eyes for a moment, allowing herself a brief moment of relief. They've made it through the worst of it, but the storm rages on outside, and she knows that it's not over. They're safe for now, but the journey is far from finished. "We're not done yet," she whispers softly to the kangaroo, the words meant for both of them. But as the storm continues to howl outside, she can't help but wonder how much more they can endure. The storm has subsided, but the damage is done. The rescuer, exhausted and bruised, takes a moment to breathe, looking at the kangaroo lying at her side. The shelter, though temporary, has kept them safe for now. But the next step looms ahead. As the dawn breaks over the horizon, the first rays of light cast a faint glow over the landscape, revealing the true extent of the damage caused by the storm. The land is scarred, twisted in ways she hadn't noticed before. The rescuer places a hand on the kangaroo's chest, feeling its breath, shallow but steady. She's almost certain the kangaroo will make it through this, but she knows they're not out of danger yet. That's when she hears it, a soft rustling in the distance. At first, she thinks it's just the wind, but the sound grows louder, more deliberate. Her heart races as she glances around, wondering if someone or something is approaching. Her breath catches in her throat as a figure emerges from the shadows. The figure draws closer, and the rescuer's heart skips a beat as she recognizes the familiar silhouette. It's a man older than her, with the hardened look of someone who has spent too long in the wild. The man steps into the clearing, and it's as if the world has stopped. His face is grim, and there's a familiarity in his eyes that she can't place. The rescuer stiffens, her muscles tightening. The man doesn't speak at first, his gaze moving from the kangaroo to her face, as though measuring her every reaction. Her mind races with possibilities. Is this someone from her past? Someone she hoped she'd never have to face again? The storm has already taken so much from her, but this feels like a deeper loss. Finally, the man speaks, and his voice is gravelly, worn from years of harsh survival. "I never thought I'd find you out here," he says, his words holding a weight she didn't expect. The rescuer doesn't respond right away, her mind whirling with confusion and dread. She'd come out here to escape, to put the past behind her. But here he is, standing before her, his presence a reminder of everything she's tried to forget. Her thoughts race back to the days before this mission, days she thought were behind her, days filled with failure and regret. The man watches her closely, his eyes softening just a little. "You've been out here a long time," he says, his voice gentler now. "I never thought you'd turn to this. Saving kangaroos, you were never meant to be out here alone." His words strike her like a punch, and she flinches, even though she tries to hide it. It's true, she wasn't meant to be out here alone. The memory of the animal she failed to save haunts her, and she had hoped this mission would bring her redemption. But now, with him standing here, she can feel the weight of her past bearing down on her once more. The silence stretches on, each second thick with the unspoken tension between them. She finally breaks it, her voice hoarse. "You don't get to tell me what I'm meant to do. I'm not here to answer to you." Her words hang in the air like an accusation. The man's face hardens, but there's a flash of regret in his eyes. "I never wanted to hurt you," he says quietly, almost to himself. "I only wanted to protect you." His words confuse her. Protect her? From what? From herself? She takes a step back, her heart racing. She doesn't know where to go from here, how to make sense of the mess in front of her. The past is coming back, faster than she can escape it. She refuses to be trapped in the same old cycle, but every part of her is screaming that the answers are with him. The storm may have passed, but the emotional tempest inside her is only just beginning. The rescuer turns away, her eyes filling with a mixture of anger and pain. She knows the man's words have struck deep, but she refuses to show it. She has nothing left to say to him. Not here. Not now. But as she moves to gather the kangaroo, the man speaks again, his voice softer, almost pleading. "You're not alone in this. You never were." The words hit her like a wave, and for a moment, she falters. The years of pain and guilt come rushing back, overwhelming her. But she doesn't stop. She can't. Not now. Not when the kangaroo needs her. She's been alone for so long that she's forgotten what it feels like to trust someone again. But for just a moment, she allows herself to wonder, what if there's still a chance for them, for redemption, for healing? She shakes her head, the thought slipping away as quickly as it came. The journey isn't over, and neither is her battle. The tension reaches its breaking point as the rescuer looks down at the kangaroo. Its breathing is shallow, barely noticeable. The storm has passed, but their problems are far from over. The journey to find help has been a brutal one, and exhaustion is taking its toll. Her hands tremble as she adjusts the kangaroo in her arms, the weight of the animal a constant reminder of the risks they've faced. But this is the moment of truth. They've reached the edge of the desert, the horizon stretching endlessly before them. The path ahead is uncertain, but she knows they can't stay here. Her heart pounds as she pushes herself forward, each step becoming more difficult, the weight of her past decisions pressing down on her shoulders. As she looks up, a figure appears in the distance, a familiar face. Her heart leaps, but doubt quickly follows. Is this real? Or has the exhaustion finally broken her mind? She blinks, and the figure becomes clearer. It's the same man who found her earlier. He's here again, but this time, there's no anger in his eyes. Just quiet determination. She feels a mix of emotions swirl within her. Fear, relief, and something more she can't quite place. The rescuer stumbles as she makes her way toward the man, the weight of the kangaroo growing almost unbearable. The man stops a few feet from her, his face unreadable. For a long moment, neither of them speaks. The air between them is thick with unspoken words. The rescuer's mind races. Should she trust him again? After everything that has happened, can she rely on him to help? The man steps forward, his eyes softening. "You don't have to do this alone anymore," he says, his voice steady. His words hang in the air, offering a lifeline, but she hesitates. Her instincts tell her to push him away, to reject any help that might come from the past. But the kangaroo is still breathing, and they're not out of danger yet. She looks down at the animal in her arms, its fragile body almost lifeless. The moment is painful, filled with the weight of every past mistake and every loss she's endured. The storm is gone, but the emotional chaos remains. Can she really let go of the past and accept help now? The rescuer looks into the man's eyes, searching for something, anything that will give her a reason to trust him again. The weight of the past still looms large, but in this moment, she realizes that she can't keep carrying the burden alone. Slowly, she steps forward, her arms aching as she hands the kangaroo to him. "Take it," she says quietly. Her voice is hoarse from the exhaustion, but the relief is palpable in her words. For the first time, she allows herself to release the grip she's had on the situation. The man accepts the kangaroo, his hands steady as he takes the weight from her. For a moment, she watches him, trying to make sense of the emotions flooding her chest. This simple act, this small, fragile moment of trust, feels like the hardest thing she's ever done. But it's also the most freeing. In that exchange, she realizes that sometimes to save another, you first have to allow yourself to be saved. And in that moment, she feels the first flicker of hope. With the kangaroo now in the man's arms, the rescuer breathes a sigh of relief. But she knows the hard part isn't over. They still have to reach the nearest settlement, and time is running out. The kangaroo's condition has worsened, and every moment counts. They start walking again, the rescuer now beside the man, both moving in tandem as they push forward. The landscape around them is unforgiving, the rocky terrain and barren stretches of sand seeming endless. The wind kicks up, and the sky grows darker, signaling the approach of another storm. But this time, the rescuer doesn't feel the same fear. She's no longer carrying the weight alone. The man's presence beside her is a small but vital anchor, and for the first time in what feels like forever, she feels like there's a chance they might make it. Every step is a battle, but now, with him by her side, there's a glimmer of hope. They reach the edge of a small settlement by nightfall, the first sign of civilization in days. The man, still holding the kangaroo, leads the way toward a building that looks like a shelter. The rescuer follows, her exhaustion finally catching up to her. She's done what she set out to do. She's brought the kangaroo this far, and now, the rest is out of her hands. As they reach the shelter, she watches the man carefully hand over the kangaroo to a local vet who's waiting inside. The vet begins to assess the animal, but the rescuer can't bring herself to stay. She turns and walks outside, her heart heavy, but there's a sense of peace in her steps. She's not the same person who set out on this journey. She's changed, and maybe, just maybe, she's finally forgiven herself for the mistakes of the past. As the door closes behind her, she takes a deep breath, looking up at the night sky. The stars are bright, the air cool, And for the first time in a long while, she feels a sense of closure. The rescue is over, but the journey of healing has just begun. The rescuer stands in the quiet of the night, the stars above her now feeling like a distant reminder of all she's been through. The shelter is calm, the crisis seemingly over, but a lingering feeling of uncertainty remains. She looks back toward the building where the vet is working on the kangaroo. She's done all she can. The adrenaline that fueled her through the worst of it is now fading, leaving her with a mix of exhaustion and relief. She can feel the weight of her actions in the silence, the weight of the choices she made along the way. But in this moment, the only thing that matters is that the kangaroo is safe. She realizes for the first time that it wasn't just about saving the animal, it was about saving herself. This journey full of pain and fear has brought her closer to understanding her own capacity for healing. The promise of redemption she once sought outside of herself now feels like something she has to find within. Slowly, she begins to walk away from the shelter, the cool desert air brushing against her skin, the quiet night offering a sense of peace. As she walks away from the shelter, her thoughts drift to the moments that brought her here. The kangaroo's small breaths, the feeling of its fragile body in her arms, the relentless journey through the storm. Those memories will stay with her. She's learned to trust again, not just others but herself. The weight of the rescue, of the lives at stake, had seemed insurmountable at times. Yet, she had made it through, her perseverance carrying her through each obstacle. Now, as the soft desert night embraces her, she understands the depth of what she's accomplished. There's no more running from the past. She's faced it head-on, and in doing so, she has found a path to healing. It's not complete, but it's enough for now. There's a long road ahead, but for the first time in a long while, she feels at peace. As the soft desert breeze blows, she takes a deep breath, the cool air filling her lungs as she begins walking toward the horizon. The rescuer doesn't look back as she moves away from the shelter. She's not running from it, she's walking towards something new. The past has shaped her, but it will no longer define her. The kangaroo's survival is a testament to her strength, but it also serves as a reminder that rescue is as much about the journey as it is about the destination. She had spent so long thinking of rescue as a one-way mission, an act of saving another. But now, she knows that true healing comes when you allow yourself to be saved as well. She thinks of the man who helped her, how much he had tried to protect her, even when she couldn't see it. It's clear now that her journey wasn't just about saving the kangaroo, but about finding her way back to herself. She's found something more valuable than redemption: peace. The rescuer pauses for a moment as she reaches a ridge overlooking the valley below. The wind has died down, and the desert is quiet. Her mind is at ease, the rush of the past few days finally beginning to fade. Kangaroo's survival is a victory, but it's not just that. It's the quiet triumph of endurance, of learning to face fear and uncertainty head-on. In this silence, with the stars overhead and the vast desert stretching out before her, she feels connected to something greater than herself. There's no need to rush anymore. Her heart is light, her steps steady. This moment, this stillness, is all she needs. For the first time in a long while, she feels whole. The rescuer takes one final look at the desert, as if committing the vastness of the land to memory. She has learned something invaluable here, not just about survival, but about herself. The journey has been grueling, but it has also been a path of self-discovery. As she turns to leave the ridge, her heart feels lighter than it ever has before. The future is uncertain, but for the first time in a long while, she feels prepared to face whatever comes next. The night is still, the stars above her guiding her forward, but the weight of the past no longer holds her back. With each step she takes, she's moving into a new chapter, one where she is no longer defined by fear or failure, but by her strength and resilience. Her journey may be far from over, but she knows now that she is ready. The rescuer stands at the edge of the small settlement, her back to the shelter where the kangaroo is being cared for. The night is calm now, the harsh winds of the past days now replaced with an eerie stillness. The sun has just set, painting the sky with shades of deep red and purple. The horizon stretches far, as endless as the journey that has led her here. For the first time, the weight of the world doesn't feel as heavy. She knows the kangaroo will be okay, that the danger has passed. But something else lingers, something that goes beyond the rescue. She looks up at the night sky, the stars bright and far away. She's no longer running from the past, no longer searching for something to redeem. This moment, this stillness, feels like the final chapter. She doesn't know what comes next, but she knows she's ready. The wind stirs slightly, and she takes a deep breath, the air now cool and fresh. The journey has changed her, and perhaps in some quiet way, she's found what she was looking for all along. As she stands there, the quiet of the night is suddenly broken by the sound of footsteps approaching. She turns, and it's him, the man who had helped her earlier. His face is softer now, his eyes filled with something she hasn't seen before. Understanding. "You did it," he says quietly, his voice filled with a mix of awe and respect. She smiles faintly, but the smile doesn't reach her eyes. The weight of the journey still sits heavily on her chest. "We did it," she replies, her voice a little hoarse. She knows she couldn't have done this without him. She looks at him for a long moment, taking in the quiet sincerity in his gaze. It's a moment of connection, a bridge built from their shared experience. There's no need for words now. She's done what she came here to do. The kangaroo is safe, and perhaps in some small way, they've both found a kind of healing. The future is uncertain, but for the first time in a long while, the rescuer knows that she's not alone. They stand together, the silence between them comfortable, not awkward. The man takes a deep breath, looking out at the desert. "I never thought we'd get this far," he says. There's a small laugh in his voice, but it's tinged with the heaviness of what they've endured. The rescuer nods, her gaze still fixed on the stars above. "Neither did I," she admits. "But we did." She looks at him now, really seeing him for the first time. The man who was once a stranger, now someone who shares this quiet, powerful bond with her. They're both survivors, both scarred by the world, but still standing. In the distance, the light of the shelter flickers, but the stars above feel closer now, as though they're all part of the same story. The rescuer smiles, not because she's won, but because, in this moment, there's nothing else left to fight. She's found peace, and with it, a quiet joy. "We did it," she says again, this time with a certainty that fills her voice. The man looks at her one last time, a thoughtful expression on his face. "You're not alone anymore," he says, his voice low, filled with a sense of finality. The rescuer meets his gaze, her heart lighter than it has been in a long time. "Thank you," she whispers, a single tear slipping down her cheek. It's not out of sadness, but out of something else, something that feels like closure. They both know the journey is over, but the healing isn't. "Take care of yourself," he says, his voice soft but sincere. She nods, turning her gaze back to the horizon. For the first time in what feels like forever, the rescuer feels at peace with what's to come. The stars shine brightly above her, no longer distant or cold, but warm and close, like they're guiding her towards something new. The past is behind her now, and with that, she steps forward into the future, no longer weighed down by fear or regret. The rescuer begins to walk away, her steps light but purposeful. With each step, she feels herself moving farther from the pain and toward the future. She's no longer searching for redemption. She's no longer carrying the weight of past failures. She's learned to trust again, to accept help when she needs it, and to forgive herself. As the soft desert wind stirs her hair, she realizes that this is what healing looks like, not a grand moment of triumph, but a quiet acceptance of the journey. The night is still, and the stars are her only companions, but for the first time she doesn't feel alone. She's at peace, and in that peace, she feels free. The journey is over, but the story doesn't end here. There's more to come, but whatever it is, she's ready.